Welcome to News Today with Universal Parks News Today. I'm Tom Corliss. Here now the news for February 3rd, 2023. Yes, I am in a sparkly suit. Don't ask. We did a News Tonight episode. It's on the WWNT TV channel. I know this is Universal channel, but we did a whole crazy bit, and I had a sparkly suit. You can go watch it if you want, but not really Universal related. Well, let's get to the news, shall we? I knew someone was going to ask, so I wanted to just talk about it. A new nighttime drone show may be coming to Universal Studios Florida. Sources have revealed that testing has begun for a new nighttime show at the park utilizing drones to create images in the sky. This technology has been used before by both Disney and Universal, but sparingly. It's unclear if the show will be simply added to the lineup, replacing Cinematic Celebration, or used for a special event. No official word has come at this time, and Universal Creative often develops or tests ideas that never come to fruition. But drones would provide a solution for Universal's nighttime show problem. Because Universal Orlando Resort is in the city proper and surrounded by residential neighborhoods, including an apartment complex directly backed up to their property, which was the one you could see from Jaws, by the way. Their shows feature little to no pyrotechnics. Drones could be substituted to create the impressive element that many guests have complained is missing from some of their lagoon shows. This is a developing rumor. Stay tuned for further updates. We don't really know much at this time, but it is, since Disneyland Paris did the 30th drone show, now the Avengers drone show, everyone's talking about doing drones. And I know Disney World's talking about it, and it wouldn't surprise me that Universal beats them to the punch. And that's not like necessarily a construction thing, and I know it's a fun joke to make. But in the case of Universal, I bet it's, there's less red tape and stuff to go through. They're probably working with a third-party company to do it. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Disney in Florida to the punch. So I think we'll probably hear something relatively soon. Demolition has begun behind the construction walls of Woody Woodpecker's KidZone in Universal Studios Florida. Most of the KidZone is permanently closed, but SpongeBob StorePants, the E.T. Adventure, and animal actors on location remain open. Construction walls feature DreamWorks characters, suggesting that may be the theme of the new area or its attractions. The water slide of Fievel's Playland still towers over the construction walls, but a construction vehicle is parked right in front of it. In fact, several construction vehicles are visible over the walls. These all appear to be excavators, usually used for digging into the ground and moving rubble or dirt. Behind the vehicles, we could just barely see the top of the cowboy hat bounce house and giant box that acted as the exit of Fievel's Playland's water slide. We could also still see the tallest hill of Woody Woodpecker's Nut House coaster. It seems most demolition so far is happening on the ground. The taller elements would come down later. Fievel's Playland is near the edge of the construction site, but the Curious George Goes to Town play area at the back of KidZone is completely blocked from view, so we don't know what's going on back there just yet. We could see some work underway on the sidewalk from inside the theater of animal actors on location. Some of the sidewalk has been torn up, revealing dirt underneath. Also permanently closed now are the DreamWorks Destination and the Shrek Swamp meet and greet. Shrek and other DreamWorks characters are now greeting guests in Hollywood at Universal Studios Florida. Menus have been revealed for 2023's Mardi Gras International Flavors of Carnaval Festival at Universal Orlando Resort. A sneak peek of the food was also released this week. You can see the full menus on our website. By the time you guys are watching this, we will be very close to having reviews of all the food for you. In fact, the event starts Saturday, and I know Annie and myself and a whole bunch of the WWNT and UPNT crew will be out there reviewing all that food for you. So stay tuned on Saturday for all that coverage. We're obviously going to film the parade. Annie and I are going to be on a parade float. If you guys are there on Saturday, be sure to wave to us in the parade. But all your Mardi Gras coverage you could possibly want at universalparksnewstoday.com. A new entryway has been erected outside the entrance of Despicable Me Minion Mayhem, presumably to protect guests from falling bricks outside the USF attraction. The usual barricades outside of Minion Mayhem have been put away in place of something much sturdier. A large purple-covered entryway has been installed, seemingly to protect guests from falling debris. A brick is noticeably missing from the facade of the Universal Studios attraction just above the entry. A hole can be seen where a half brick was once laid on the facade of the motion simulator ride. While it appears to be the only noticeable sign of trouble, the quick installation might just be a sign that more needs to be done to the attraction's facade, or maybe just done out of an abundance of caution. Either way, just look out when you enter this attraction, I guess. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, The Vacationeer, the engineers of your next epic vacation. Sit back and let the team of vacation planning experts craft your family's next trip to Universal. The best part is their services are free. Visit wwnt.travel for details. In the Sneetches by Dr. Seuss, the allegory tells us that no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. The line may have been taken too literally, as the beloved Dr. Seuss characters are now missing from their previous post at Seuss Landing Sneetch Beach at Islands of Adventure. A trio of long-necked yellow Sneetches used to be seen floating, swimming, and fishing within the water of what was called Sneetch Beach. The Dr. Seuss characters have now gone missing from the usual spots within the water of the lagoon. In the photo you're looking at now, two of the Sneetches can be seen in the water in front of the Incredible Hulk coaster on a stormy summer day. It's likely that the figures have been removed for refurbishment following the recent refurb of the one of the two Zacks at the Zacks bypass. They've been rolling through the whole land the last couple months and years even. The 1961 story focuses on a group of characters known as Sneetches who are used to teach children about diversity and discrimination. Dr. Seuss uses silliness to show the errors in judging someone by their appearance. A ride along the Seuss Trolley train ride can help tell the story of the Sneetches by Dr. Seuss. The barren waters of Sneetch Beach may have been emptied of their beloved characters, but we hope they'll make a return to Seuss Landing in the near future. It's most likely, again, that they're just being cleaned up, but again, some Dr. Seuss stories have come under fire the last couple of years for being quote-unquote offensive, but that hasn't changed anything in the land just yet, really, so we'll see what happens. I assume the Sneetches will return. A facade has been erected around the entrance of the Red Coconut Club at Universal Orlando CityWalk, which will become the Cursed Coconut Club for Mardi Gras International Flavors of Carnaval. If you frequent Universal CityWalk, you've likely walked past the club, one of the most popular bars and eateries for guests. And ever since Halloween Horror Nights last year, we have seen seasonal overlays occur, like also there was the Green and Red Coconut Club, which followed the Horror Nights version. And now we're going to get the Cursed Coconut Club. Now, spooky archways and walls of fake stone are up outside the club. Tattered fabric hangs one of the archways, and they're all covered in vines and overgrown plants. When we next visited the club, banners had been hung from the balconies. They feature neon-colored voodoo dolls against starry card designs. And if these facades look familiar, that's because they seem to be made of the same molds or actually be the repainted sets from the Graveyard Deadly Unrest Scare Zone from last year's Halloween Horror Nights 31. According to team members, the Cursed Coconut Club will open at 5 p.m. on the first day of Mardi Gras, Saturday, February 4th. And as well, a new Cursed Coconut Club Mardi Gras t-shirt is already available at the market next door. The Cursed Coconut Club shirt is $30. It's a black shirt with the neon design matching the banners hanging outside of the club. And there are pink and green voodoo dolls and several pins around the name of the club. The Cursed Coconut Club, the Mardi Gras overlay, again, expected to open on Saturday, the first day of the event. Team members at Universal Studios Hollywood are taking no chances with the queue of their newest attraction, Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge in Super Nintendo World. Guests who were lucky enough to have already previewed the Universal Studios Hollywood land may be surprised to learn that the incredibly detailed model prominently displayed in Bowser's Castle has been covered with a cage to prevent theft or damage from guests. After a stroll through Yoshi's Island and the caves, guests then find themselves in Bowser's Castle, and as you enter the library of said Bowser, strategic plans and blueprints surround an incredibly detailed model that shows how Bowser envisions the Mario Kart course. This display, made largely from quote-unquote cardboard and paper, has now been covered with a metal cage to keep guests from damaging the intricate scene. The display features Mario characters in their Super Nintendo era art style, alongside each of the Koopalings and the various enemies like Thwomps, Chain Chomps, and Piranha Plants. For a full tour of the model display and the queue in its entirety, you could check out our walkthrough from earlier this month, which shows the diorama cage free. That's available in video form right here on the channel. While the cage was not deemed necessary during the attraction's soft opening or technical rehearsal, its placement now suggests that guests have been more hands-on than originally anticipated. Of course, a similar display is found in the queue at Universal Studios Japan, but after nearly 2 years in place, the delicate and detailed model remains intact and no cage is on it. This is not a news flash, folks. Guests in Japan way more respectful of these sorts of things, so it won't be necessary there. But In Hollywood, I guess they're worried that people are going to go under that rail or whatever and go to take a picture or touch it, and they're trying to protect here, which is a shame because this is, for me, this is the single coolest prop in whether it's the queue in Japan or the queue in Hollywood. It is so cool, and the cage completely ruins it. You can't really make out what it is now. It just ruins the whole scene. I would rather they set up like a cage more towards the guests. I mean, I'd probably rather they cage the guests if they're going to destroy stuff. But otherwise, I think I would do something. What comes to mind, this is a weird reference and everyone may not get it, but the queue of Journey to the Center of the Earth at Tokyo Disney Sea, there are these caged areas where there's stuff in them, but the cage is very large and towards guests, so and the holes are a little wider, which allow you to look in, and even a phone camera can very easily take a picture unobstructed through the cage wall. That might be a better thing that should happen here. I know this might have been a rush thing, and maybe that's what the plan is, but the cage as it exists currently just ruins the scene, and I really hope they'll find another solution because it just doesn't look good. I mean, the land has a whole lot of fit and finish problems that don't look good, but this is a real shame. Universal Studios Hollywood is offering a Super Nintendo World Early Access ticket add-on that allows guests to visit the land 1 hour before the park even opens. The ticket add-on is $20 to $25 and does not include park admission. Park admission for the same day is required, so you can't just pay the $20 for an hour of Super Nintendo World Access. The price is date-based, with weekends and busy periods priced at $25 per person per day, and weekdays or slower periods at $20 per person per day. It also includes express access for the studio tour before 11 a.m. on the same day. I know I'm going to be pretty negative this week. This is being offered. This wouldn't need to be offered if these lands were built with any sort of capacity. And this is not a solely Universal problem. Disney, the newer lands they build, kind of the same. No one seems to want to build enough attractions and things to do in a land to actually handle the amount of people that want to see it. And this is not, and even in Japan where there's 2 rides and more to do, they face the same problems. And I know this park is landlocked and the Japan park is to an extent as well. But you gotta build for capacity. You have to build for the expected crowds. Because then this comes across as like, this is a money grab. It's like, well, we know once the land opens, it's going to be a nightmare in the morning and people have to get, a sort of return time to come back into the land once it closes at capacity, which is going to happen every single day. And so it's like, well, we'll just upcharge people. And I promise you, the land is going to be such a wreck that this is going to be super popular. It is not going to be $20 to $25 for long. It's very likely going to be more very soon. Because people will pay it to not deal with the disaster. I will tell you, like our pass holder preview that they let too many people into, which it wasn't even that many people to begin with, was a train wreck. The land cannot handle any amount of people. And if that's the amount of people they plan on letting in before they even cut it off and start doing the boarding group kind of thing, it's going to be miserable. It's going to be a miserable experience for people. So I will do this because I know, the rest of my traveling party when I visit next time wants to see Mario Kart and stuff, and so this is the only way to do it hassle-free, and maybe it isn't. We don't even know how many people are going to let into this. Anyway, I know I'm ranting, but the moral of the story is that this will be the only way to really experience it, because the land is not built to handle any amount of people, and it's a shame that we have to have money grabs like this. Because they're essentially selling you knowing this is the only fun way to experience the land, so you should give us $25. And the same way, I don't agree with Disney selling lightning lanes for rides that have boarding groups. I don't agree with Universal selling early access to Super Nintendo World knowing that the land has no capacity. You're paying to not fight the world, and I think in an ideal world, you should be designing these lands to be experienced by the number of people that want to experience them. We should stop building lands with 1 or 2 rides based on super mega franchises. And I mean, I will tell you, I can't even do the honest review of Super Nintendo World yet because we saw so little of the land in our pass holder preview. It is not going to be good. because beyond any of those capacity problems, the land is very unfinished. I don't know what happened between this one and the one in Japan, but there's a whole lot of bad sightline issues. And I'm not talking about, I know Diz Twitter's going on and on about you only see the building from certain angles. No. There are way bigger problems. Number one, as soon as you come through the warp pipe, you see the Comcast building. So the reveal is totally ruined. And beyond that, there are so many fit and finish problems that I'm not even talking about the LA skyline. I know people are like, what do you want them to do? It's a small park, blah, blah, blah. There are sightline problems in the land where you see mechanisms and full things you're not supposed to see, like how the characters move, their platforms, lighting rigs, all sorts of things you are not supposed to see are very visible. Not to even talk about that weird gap in the wall where the Koopa is. There's planters that are just dirt patches at this point. There were red tape all over the land where things weren't finished. I know it's not officially open. I will tell you this. I would be stunned if half of these things are finished by February 17th. I would be stunned. They're not going to be. But there are so many problems. Again, I know people hate the hills. You could see the block pattern on the hills in the background. But the sightlines from Bowser's Castle alone, where you see Jurassic World and all these other it's a train wreck. It's a train wreck of a land. And I hate to say that, but it's oof. I have many thoughts. I will get to do that honest review at some point. Many thoughts to share. Anyway, speaking of that terrible AP preview, Universal Studios Hollywood is offering a chance for past members who attended that preview on January 29th to attend a second preview on Monday, February 6th, after many weren't able to experience the land as expected. That's to quote the email. We received an email about the opportunity that reads, quote, "Thank you for joining us as part of our first past member preview for Super Nintendo World this past Sunday, January 29th. It turns out you were as excited as we were, as this was one of our best attended past member preview events ever. As a result, we know that not all guests were able to experience the land as expected. We're reaching out to our members who had reserved for the preview this past Sunday to offer you another chance to visit at a new past member preview day added for you on Monday, February 6, 2023. The email includes details about attending the newly added preview date. So what they're doing is inviting everyone back. You know, everyone that went on the overcrowded preview day is invited back again for another 2-hour window, which will now be distributed on a first-come, first-served basis. That doesn't sound like it's going to go well either. That sounds like you're going to run into the same problems again, unless just that many people they think are not going to show up because it's a Monday. I don't know. Either way, Super Nintendo World officially opens on February 17th. Past member previews run again. They start on the 29th. Will run through February 11th. But I hate to be that guy. I don't think that preview is going to go well. And the other thing is this apology, right? This apology is nonsense. Are they pretending? Like you set up a registration system for pass holder previews. You knew exactly how many people you let sign up. It's one of our best attended. You controlled the attendance via registration system. So you knew exactly how many people you were letting in. So how you could be surprised by the number of people that showed up when you let that number of people show up is beyond me. I am bewildered by this. Anyway, let's move on. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. Special shout out, of course, to all our WIGS members who make this show happen every week. For more information on these stories and more, head on over to UniversalParksNewsToday.com. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Universal Parks News Today on YouTube for more great content, including my honest review of Super Nintendo World in Japan, which does have its positive moments, though, mind you. Click the bell for notifications, and make sure to hit select all notifications so you never miss an episode of the show. For UPNT, this is Tom Corliss saying the future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one.
WDW News Tonight is our weekly comedy show combining the news of the week, comedy segments, thoughtful discussions, insane characters, parody commercials, games, and more. Watch live on Thursdays at 9 p.m. and become a Wigs member to get access to a bonus post show. Watch WDW News Tonight episodes anytime and live on YouTube, or get the audio-only version on iTunes and other podcast services.